My name is Audrey Pierce, and if you had asked me a year ago, I would have told you I was the girl who had everything. I lived in San Francisco, the heart of Silicon Valley, a place where every dream feels just one IPO away from becoming a reality. I was a high-profile tech lawyer, and I was about to marry my childhood sweetheart and the biggest support of my career, Julian Hayes. Julian. Just hearing his name, you'd picture it. Tall, charismatic, the golden boy of Wall Street, and my future. Our relationship was a fairy tale to outsiders, glamour, passion, and that deep understanding that only comes after 10 years of friendship. We held our engagement party at one of San Francisco's most exclusive rooftop venues. Below us, the lights of the Golden Gate Bridge twinkled, and on my hand was the massive diamond ring Julian had given me, a symbol of my identity, my success, and my love. I felt like I was floating that night. I was talking to Julian, and he was looking at me, his eyes full of that familiar love, or so I believed. He whispered in my ear, "Audrey, there's no one like you. You are my queen." That queen only lasted for a moment. In the middle of the party, I needed to find Julian for an urgent call. I knew he always went to the executive lounge in the North Tower, where it was quiet. I reached the door. It was slightly ajar. And then all the lights of San Francisco seemed to crash down on me. Inside, I saw them. Julian. And with him, Serena Desai. Serena, my professional rival, whom Julian had fired 2 years earlier, calling her my biggest mistake. Julian was standing intimately close to Serena, his hand resting on her waist. Their chemistry, the energy of that raw, dangerous romance, I couldn't deny it. And then I heard those two lines. The lines that burned all my happiness to ashes in an instant. Serena laughed and said to Julian, "So, the Queen's ring is secured. Our timing is perfect, Julian. The merger is ours." And Julian replied, "Trust me, baby. Everything is going exactly as planned. Audrey has signed the papers. She's the easiest part of the deal." The easiest part of the deal. I backed away silently. The engagement ring on my hand felt cold, like a useless stone. This wasn't just betrayal. This was a conspiracy. This wasn't my love. This was a corporate setup. Julian had used my devotion, my trust, simply to obtain a signature. That night, amidst the sparkle of San Francisco, my heart broke. But instead of shattering, I turned to steel. I didn't choose to cry there. I chose to stay quiet and win. I went back to the party. The professional, happy smile was fixed on my face, but inside, a storm was raging. To everyone else, I was still the engaged tech queen, but to me, I was a double agent in my own home. I watched Julian and Serena return from the lounge at different times, their eyes holding that same glint of secret arrogance. They thought they had won. They thought I hadn't seen them. Their biggest mistake was this. They underestimated me. My training was that of a lawyer, putting emotions aside to focus on facts. My first priority? Proof. I lay awake next to Julian that night, but I didn't sleep. I extracted all the data I needed from his phone and laptop, emails, their financial plans, and most importantly, those merger papers I had signed in love. Julian had used my signature to transfer my company shares to the Shell Corporation, controlled by him and Serena. The next morning, Julian gave me a good morning kiss. To me, that kiss was poison. He said, "You look a little worried, darling. Wedding tension? Don't worry, I'll handle everything." "Yes, I'm just a little anxious, but I know that with you, everything will go according to plan. According to my plan." I knew that if I stayed in San Francisco, Julian would track my every move. I needed a safe house where I could build my strategy. I told Julian I was having pre-wedding anxiety. He said, I need to get out of the city for a few days, Julian. A little break. I've booked a small cabin in Seattle where I will read and reflect on our wedding promises. Julian looked slightly nervous, but quickly plastered on a loving smile. Of course, my love. Go, rest. You deserve it. I'll handle things here. Things, meaning the Ascend Corp takeover. I said goodbye and took a flight to Seattle. But I wasn't going there to rest. I was going there to prepare for war. Seattle. Compared to the flash of San Francisco, the weather here is always a little gray. It's a tech city, but the vibe is softer. I rented a small wooden cabin by a lake. For the first 2 days, I just cried. I let myself purge all the love, the betrayal, the fake memories. I cleared Julian and his lies out of my life. But when I stopped crying, the lawyer, the fighter, came back. My next move, a new bank account and a new team. I transferred all my digital assets, bank accounts, and shares into US-based secure vaults, using JP Morgan Chase as a secure buffer far from Julian's sight. I cloned all my company's internal data and locked it behind cloud-based cybersecurity. But I needed someone who could teach me to trust again and who could pull me out of this corporate quicksand. I went to a local cafe that evening to get coffee. I was careless, lost in thought, and then I bumped into someone. The coffee spilled all over me. I looked up. Standing there was Ethan Cole. Ethan Cole, a software developer who lived in Seattle running a small tech-for-good startup. He looked nothing like Julian. No suit, no gold watch, just a simple hoodie, jeans, and in his eyes, there was that honest, real sparkle. The sparkle I hadn't seen in Julian's eyes for 10 years. Oh my God, I'm so sorry, he said immediately, his face full of genuine distress. He handed me a napkin and then took in my overwhelmed state. Are you okay? You look incredibly troubled. Please forgive me, he insisted. And for the first time since that night in San Francisco, someone saw my pain, not my smile. I'm fine, I said with a faint smile. Just a bit of bad luck lately. He heard me, and then he did something I wasn't ready for. He took my hand, a soft, comforting touch. Bad luck can be changed, Audrey, he said. I think you need a real friend here in Seattle. I'll remake the coffee, but if you want, I can listen to your story. In his touch, there was a warmth, a quiet romance that felt entirely new to me. This wasn't the love Julian displayed for my status. This was the love one human gives another without any conditions. I told him the entire story of Julian and Serena's betrayal. Everything, from the corporate takeover to the engagement ring. Ethan listened with complete attention. When he finished, he didn't offer any judgment. He just held my hand tighter. Julian and Serena thought they could take your empire, but they forgot that you are the person who built that empire. Audrey, I will help you fight back. Ethan Cole, my new ally, and maybe my new chance at love. A new chapter had begun in my life. On one side, in San Francisco, my treacherous fiancé and his rival were preparing to loot my empire. And on the other, in Seattle, a simple, kind-hearted man, Ethan, was helping me get back on my feet. Amidst the betrayal, I found a real and simple romance. Now, I had to use this new trust, this new strength. It was time to go back. It was time to show the city of mirrors what true reflection looks like. The core lesson. The true value in life is found not in status, wealth, or the facade of a perfect life, but in inner strength, self-respect, and genuine human connection. Never underestimate someone whose trust you've broken. Betrayal can transform pain into the very steel needed to fight back. The simplest, most honest love, represented by Ethan's quiet commitment, is ultimately the greatest victory over corporate greed and emotional manipulation. The story teaches us that what you lose in a lie, you can gain back tenfold.